stupid because it's happened before. I would think we would be like...
The question is why?
I don't know.
Right? Why? What is with the Buffalo Sabres and just owning the Leafs this year?
Got a theory?
Yeah, No, I don't.
Yes.
But what I will say is that going into the game last night, I didn't really say this on air, but I was expecting a kind of Leafs dominance performance again because we've seen so many in a row. They played the Habs. They only won by 1, but they kicked the crap out of them on Saturday night. They've been playing good teams, beating them. Had a good performance against a bad team on Saturday night. Thought last night was going to be finally the time where they go in and they just looked like they did in the outdoor game. They looked like the game they did against them. With the first game back with fans was against Buffalo, and they lost, I think, 5-2 or 5-1 to that game. So they've lost some real stinkers, and I don't know, maybe it's the size they have, speed, Craig Anderson. I don't know what the hell it is, but they see that jersey.
They're not a great team, right? I mean, I've seen the record, but for whatever reason, it gives the Leafs fits. Was it going into the game last night that Sheldon Keefe had a quote where he said, like, these games like this have given us fits. We've had problems in games like this. Like, he saw this coming.
Playing down to your opponent. That's the favorite tagline when it comes to Toronto recently against the likes of Montreal, Buffalo.
Yeah, and it has been a bit of a trend. We know they got up for all those big games. They played their divisional games and all that. And
before we get into the Leafs, can we just praise a couple of guys they have in the Sabres?
You know what? Save it. We'll touch on Buffalo because I do want to give them their due credit, especially Granato, who's done, I think, a fantastic job. And proof is in the pudding. I think watching this team, I took the game in live, boys.
Yeah.
I got invited by a good friend who did me no favors in the third period because he pulled me out of the 6 rows up where I was really enjoying the game and started watching the game on like a 13-inch television at the Shear Club with a bottle of tequila. And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, if you're listening, and I won't drop your name, you are a very bad man.
Yeah, Mr.
Very bad man.
Yeah, Mr. Bezos, that was a bad call. That was not Kyper's.
Right?
Yeah.
But what did I really miss? And maybe it looked better on the 13 or 14-inch screen because
it probably looked better at tequila.
It got uglier.
Yeah.
As my night did, so did the third period for the Leafs.
It just felt like, waiting for the Leafs to turn it on the way they did against the Flyers. They had that bad night in Philly, and it was like, okay, well, this is a team that can kind of flip the switch and go, all right, boys, we've fallen behind. Let's find it. There was no let's finding it really from that performance last night. Do you want to go to Sheldon on that, Sammy? Which clip do you like best?
Let's just start out with on the game to get his opinion on it.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the game?
It wasn't good.
It's up there with the Brad May. Well, it's not good.
I told you guys at yesterday's show, these 10 games are going to be challenging for Sheldon, and I'm sure many other teams, but different reasons for different outcome. But this one, for me, is going to be challenging for Sheldon. And I listened to his comments, and we've got a few more, but even Sheldon's energy's down. Even Sheldon doesn't really have, a pinpoint. You can hear Sheldon a little tired.
Yeah.
And fatigued.
Well, it's, I don't know how you time it with peaking at the right time. Like, is this too early still before you want your team going in the right direction? I do feel like there's a lull here because it doesn't really matter where they finish in the standings. Maybe it does. And that's under or overstated, but I just don't feel like it matters. It feels like they need a kick in the pants right now. It's a lull. They're allowed to have it, but it was disappointing last night. Why don't we go into what why the Sabres specifically give them trouble? Do you want to go there next?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that.
Because we'll have a few comments as well.
Yes.
Oh, it's 4 games against this team. We've been no shows in all 4s. So it's hard to pinpoint. It seems like maybe every year there's one team that just for whatever reason you just don't have your game in against them. This has been the team. it's probably been about a month or so, really, I guess, since the outdoor game against that same team where we've had a game that we just weren't good in. Maybe Philadelphia as well, but we found our game in the third period and got a win. That's what we're hoping for tonight. Obviously, didn't get it.
Size of the team, speed of the team.
We're not any more smarter off of that clip.
Didn't learn anything
No,
there.
I didn't really learn anything there. What from your view did you see last night that's making Buffalo awfully successful against the Toronto Maple Leafs? And as we said, at some point between now and game one, whoever the Leafs plays, it will be, okay, who do you know in Buffalo? Who can you talk to in Buffalo? And who can explain to us what has made them so successful against the Toronto Maple Leafs? Because we need to copy that. We need to duplicate that. What are the top 3 things?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great call. The things that stood out to me are Keith and them being a possession team.
We had that one.
Okay, well, let's do that clip too.
Okay.
And I'll carry on.
Well, I mean, they've defended well. They've outnumbered us on the puck, but we've made it really easy on them. We've been complete no-shows physically in these games. So they have a big team with lots of skill, and they're good in possession. So when you don't compete, you're not engaged physically, and you don't execute on offense, you're not going to have the puck much. And they have it a lot, and that plays into their hands. And it's just the way she goes.
It's just the way she goes. Him and Kyle.
That's sheer exhaustion right there out of the man.
I wonder if him and Kyle had a bet at some point where he's like, you got to mix in a way she goes into one of your post-game press conferences, because that's what Kyle mixed it in. He said,
I've heard Duba say the S-Wins are coming, which is a standard
Trailer Park Boys
reference too.
I thought that's interesting, though. And I think when I'm watching that game last night, it looked like a team that was big and had the puck a lot, and it looked like a team that was not interested in engaging in another team's size.
See, to me, 10 games in the season or 10 games remaining in the season, that's a bit of an issue for me, JB.
Yeah.
That he says we made it real easy on them physically.
Mm-hmm.
That would bother the crap out of me.
Yeah. If you were in that dressing room hearing it from your coach.
It would bother me if I'm Kyle or Brendan Shanahan, absolutely.
Yeah, certainly knowing what's coming. God, it's the old motivation thing too. But like we talked about that team Buffalo has, the young guys that I would say are going to be a part of this rebuild, this next core of the Sabres, are gigantic. Like Tage Thompson is huge. What's he, 6'7"? Owen Power now is 6'6". Even Rasmus Dahlin is 6'3". Alex Tuck is 6'3". Like this is a big team. Dylan Cousins is 6'3". Their main players are very big. And I don't know if that gives Toronto a bit of a hard time. God, I tweeted about this last night, and I get people responding to me about like, oh, size doesn't matter. Size is just this.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God, watch one physical contact sport. Watch football, watch basketball, watch hockey. Of course, size is important. Being big is an advantage. And those guys, I don't know that those guys are unbelievable players, core pieces that are going to help you win a Stanley Cup, but they're good players and they're big. I mean, maybe that's part of it. Sammy, I know you think that Buffalo Sabres team is actually going to be good soon. I'm a little less bullish, but
I don't think you can overstate what adding Owen Power does to a team. Like, that's a guy that's in college. He's a guy that's a first overall pick. You don't have him all year. And then you just imagine being one of those guys on that team. You just insert a 6'5", smooth skating defenseman who plays 20 minutes in his NHL debut, and he's just going to be on your top pair for the next 15 years. It's just, the guy is unbelievable.
The part of the game, the most important part of last night's game, watching from 6 rows up off the ice, to watch him play, you would have thought he had been in the league for 5 or 6 years.
No panic, eh?
20 minutes, nothing great, but everything quietly very good, very solid, great foundation. I don't know what he's going to end up being. a Hedman or a Pietrangelo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but whatever it is, the writing's on the wall. It's going to be very good.
Yeah.
And you didn't even mention Samuelson, who was like an octopus last night.
Yeah. Well, he's
Right? There's another big moose.
What's he, 6'6" or something? He's a monster too.
And I'm
not
watching.
that big.
I'm watching this back end like gobble up the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
He's 6'4", 227 pounds, Matthias Samuelson.
How old's he? Where did he come from? Why do I don't?
He's
I think
22 years old.
his dad played in the NHL.
Oh,
I went to training camp with
okay.
his dad, if I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
mistaken, was Shell Samuelson.
So, here's my thing with the Sabres. Every team has good players coming, and the good teams have less good players coming because they've been good. So the Leafs don't have a wave of the same guys coming, but they have other players that are in the NHL who are very good. I just think we get really excited about teams that start to turn the corner. Here comes Ottawa. Here comes New Jersey. Here comes Detroit. LA is the closest to turning it around of the teams that have bottomed out and still like they're a maybe for playoffs. It's hard to turn around. So yeah, Sammy, I like a lot of their guys, and Power does move the needle in a big way. Still not ready to say that that's a playoff team next year or whatever. But boy, they're
Who's their prospect goalie? Is it Levi?
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I don't know.
It's
Did Devin Levi?
Levi?
Yeah.
Isn't he regarded as maybe
I think he's going back.
I know, but an up
Yeah.
and comer,
Yeah.
or maybe one of the best prospects out there.
Yeah. I think
Like,
he's a highly praised guy.
That's really what they're missing right now. But when you factor in how, again, the pressure on a young general manager in Kevin Adams was on the trade, and how Tuck's come in and really started looking like a captain here, you
Yeah.
know?
Can I just tell you,
leading.
Jack Eichel in a huge game for Vegas last night was kind of
Yeah.
bad. Like cruddy. Like his fault for the OT goal against the worst line for Vegas last night. So yeah, I'm not saying Eichel's not whatever, but
I just sent off
You know.
an email to our wonderful Sportsnet stats. I probably should have done this before the show, but our pre-show meeting today was not exactly a thrilling one. But anyways, I digress there. I want to know what the record is since they traded Eichel, because it just seems like every time that they've played the Leafs, there's this freedom they play with. I don't know, it's just because they're out of the playoffs, they're not playing with anything. For anything, they're just kind of can play freely, but it just feels like there's a weight that's been lifted off this team. Like you said, they added in Tuck, who seems to love playing there. He's from the area. Krebs a good young prospect. I really do like the direction they're going in, and it's not I think there's a chance that they're going to be really good in the next couple of years. Same with Detroit. Like, this division that's already a monster has two teams that really seem like they have some promise, with the Red Wings and Buffalo as well.